James Marshall was the one who found gold on Sutter's land. Saw it in the river there, gleaming in the sand. The cry went up all over town, gold for American kind. People came from far and wide, riches on their mind. They said they'd die for Sutter's gold, they'd give their heart and soul for Sutter's gold. Sam Brennan was a businessman who ran the local store. Guess gold miners needed tools to dig, stocked up with picks galore. And while others worked and broke their backs trying to find a seam, Sam Brennan just sat back and laughed, living off their dreams. He said they'd die for Sutter's gold, they'd give their heart and soul for Sutter's gold. He said they'd die for Sutter's gold, they'd give their heart and soul for Sutter's gold. Well, fortunes were made and fortunes were mourned. James Marshall as poor as the day he was born. There at the end of the whole sad affair, Sam Brennan became a millionaire. It's true, they died for Sutter's gold, they gave their heart and soul for Sutter's gold. They died for Sutter's gold, they gave their heart and soul for Sutter's gold, for Sutter's gold. They'll keep on looking, they'll keep on looking, but they'll keep on looking, but they'll keep on looking. Hello, I'm Richard J. Dowling, welcome to Guitar Trek, and today I'm going to be talking about Sutter's Gold and how I came to write it. First of all, I'd had the music element for quite a while, so like some months ago I'd had it, and it's very simple. I don't know if you can see, but it started off as a D major, A major, E major. I'm holding my electric guitar because it's a bit lighter, and it's not lighter, it's less bulky, so it's easier for me to move around as I'm wont to do in these videos. And so that was just the basic idea, very simple. The reason, now I remember it, the reason why I sort of came up with it originally was there's this fantastic song from the 80s called Swords of 1,000 Men by a group called 10 Pole Tudor. Well, it's actually a guy, I think he had a group, but it was, I can't remember his first name, but it was 10 Pole Tudor. And it's a fantastic song. Please look it up. Swords of 1,000 Men. The video is amazing. I mean, it's a song that you listen to it and you just want to get up and, I don't know, go into battle or something. I mean, the video is like a medieval sort of, knights and castles and stuff. But Edward, I think it was Edward 10 Pole Tudor, I think was his name. He's very manic, and he's got his way of dancing, and just his whole being is just filled with energy. And the song really just, even if you don't understand the lyrics, I imagine you listen to it and you just get the energy. And I think a lot of modern music is missing that emotion. Now there could be many reasons for it. A lot of people are saying that it's, online with various different YouTube channels, there's a lot of debate about this, and some people say that a lot of it is because of the fact that music is done mainly on computer and everything is made perfect with today's editing programs. I was going to say Photoshop, but I don't think we use Photoshop for music. Pro Tools, you can snap everything to a grid, get every snare hit right on time. Every vocal can be perfectly pitched with autotune or Melodyne, and so ironically, this takes out a lot of the emotion of music, because music made by human beings always has slight imperfections. Now, obviously, the better musician you are, the closer you approach to perfection. But the problem is, especially for singers, I think, is that probably it's the same for drummers and guitar as well, that the emotion comes through. I think not through the imperfections per se, but the more perfect something is, the less likely you are to express your emotions. Now, I mean, for instance, if you listen to opera singers, in fact, no, it's not. I'm not being. Let's be a little more exact about what I'm saying here. It's not so much that you can't express emotion when things are perfect. It's the fact that you can't express your individuality. I think that's the main point. So if you listen to opera singers, they have wonderful technique. They are, without doubt, amazing athletes. I mean, the technique that they use for singing without amplification over an orchestra is just stunning. And it's been my privilege to be with a couple of opera singers who, in person in a room, and the resonance that they give to their voice, I mean, it's just utterly amazing. You've never seen anything or heard anything like it. So find an opera singer, get them in a room, and ask them to sing politely, obviously. And so, nevertheless, I find it difficult to tell one opera singer from another opera singer, because the technique is such that it forces you to use your body in a way that more or less the voices, for me, sound similar. And I think this is what's happening with computerized music, is that everything becomes the same. Even vocals become pitch perfect, and they lose the ability to transmit one person's emotion or an individual's sense of what they think is the right note, or what they think is the right emotion for the note. Neil Young, I think, was famously told by a recording engineer that he was singing a bit flat, and his response was, "That's my style." And I envy that confidence in his ability. But I think it gives an indication that certainly Neil Young is one of those singers, you hear him and you think, oh yeah, that's Neil Young. Lou Reed, Bob Dylan, they're all very idiosyncratic singers. I mean, I don't think any of them would be said to be perfect singers. And yet, for the purpose of pop music and transmitting emotion, for me, they are perfect singers. So anyway, so they had that song, Swords of a Thousand Men, in mind as something that I always wanted to try and copy. I have this like running catalogue of songs in my head that I love, and I always think, it'd be great to do something in that vein, or with that approach in mind, or so. It's not so much trying to copy, but it's just the sense of like that song really made me feel something, and now I'm going to try and do something to make somebody feel, in the same way. So this was the riff, the D major, A major, E major, but then gradually over time playing it, I dropped the the third. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm just playing the open E string. So it would be annotated as a D suspended second. I think technically it's more of a D suspended ninth, but I don't know. It's just playing, instead of playing all of the D chord, you leave the first string open, so the E is ringing, and the E string will ring throughout all of the chords. So it's functioning as a pedal note, giving a little bit of suspense. So that was the music for the verse, and then for the chorus, on a whim, I just decided that I wanted to do a one chord chorus, and I was feeling lazy, and I didn't want to get into like another epic sort of like struggle for finding lots of chords, so I just decided on the A chord. So then I had basically the song, and as luck would have it, I came across this story. I teach English as a second language, And in this textbook, there was the story of Sutter's gold. It's a real true story in the California gold rush. In fact, I've got a photocopy here of the page, and it tells a story of how it's very simplified. And in fact, in my version, in my song, I don't go into some of the interesting details. But so James Marshall found gold in a river in a place called Sutter's Fort, which belonged to some guy called Sutter. But really, the man who made his fortune out of all this was Sam Brennan, who had a store where people would get their supplies. And realizing that potential gold miners were going to need a lot of equipment, he decided to foment the demand for gold. So he was the one who actually went around shouting out, "There's gold, there's gold, there's gold." Gold in the American River, I think, was the phrase. That I couldn't sort of work it in so much directly into the story in my song, but more or less the idea is that hundreds of or thousands of people came to find gold. Some of them did, but most of them went home empty-handed. But the one guy who did become a millionaire was Sam Brennan, selling the equipment to these miners. And in itself, it's an interesting story, but I think it's also I found it a metaphor for modern day internet gold rush, where YouTube or Spotify, all of these, are sort of promising millions to people if they have a successful channel or if their music takes off on Spotify. But the real people who are making the millions are, of course, the service providers, the YouTube, Spotify, Facebook. These are the people making the money, not the artists in general. So it's quite a strongly worded critique, really. I mean, I guess looking at it from the other point of view, Sam Brennan was an intelligent guy who spotted a hole in the market and made a legitimate fortune. So really, I mean, you can't really blame him. It was just from an artistic viewpoint, it was a little bit ironic. In the same way that YouTube provide a service, Spotify provide a service, and as far as I know, they're doing it in all good faith. And nevertheless, I think we all feel some of the frustration sometimes of trying to have a successful channel on YouTube, for example, or get your music listened to on Spotify. But anyway, so that was some of the thinking behind the song, and why I always feel that these historical events are usually, in some ways, valuable for looking at modern times, which is one thing that always gets me when I see, for instance, conversations on forums. Somebody will resurrect. There's this phrase, they'll resurrect a dead thread, and then everyone will get on their case for how dare you resurrect this dead thread? And I always think, well, what's the problem with bringing back a conversation? I mean, anyway, well, I won't get into too much about the internet, but anyway, the general trend for the internet is that the only time that exists is now. Anything from yesterday is obsolete and out of date, which goes against my natural way of looking at things. I'm always looking to the past for inspiration or just for entertainment. And so for that reason, Sutter's Gold resonated quite a lot with me, and hopefully it will with you. And thank you very much once again. Thank you to all people who are listening and watching and leaving comments. It's really, really nice of you. I really appreciate it. And also, I keep forgetting to mention, but I'm proud to be part of a couple of songwriting Song a Week groups. There's one on Reddit, and then there's another one which is like an independent one, both filled with talented, wonderful people, all writing songs every week. And it's staggering. I thought when I initially started this channel, I thought, oh, I've got an interesting idea. I'll probably be the first person to do this. I'll write a song a week and upload it. And of course, when you discover that there are hundreds of people out there doing it and probably doing it better than I am, then it is a humbling experience, but also an educational one. So thank you to all, and thanks for listening in. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.